Channing Tatum back as Gambit? Marvel's got some wild announcements for Deadpool 3, and if you're curious about all the iconic returns and Marvel cameo scenes, you've landed in the right spot. Hey Marvel enthusiasts, with the buzz around Deadpool 3 getting louder, the latest reveals will surely blow your mind. There's a lot to unpack, from Channing Tatum's surprising return as Gambit to the links with the previously cancelled Gambit movie. If you've been following the X-Men universe, you'd know how pivotal these character comebacks can be. And with actors like Chris Evans and Ben Affleck reprising their old Marvel roles, this is one movie you don't want to miss. But before we dive into this deep sea of Marvel revelations, hit that subscribe button. Stay updated on every twist, turn, and time travel in the Marvel universe. Let's embark on this superhero journey together. Marvel's announced more guest appearances and returning Deadpool 3 roles. One of the most surprising roles is Channing Tatum playing a version of Gambit. They've also shared details about the storyline of the previously canceled Gambit film before Disney acquired Fox. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for updates. Many might have heard about the numerous guest roles in Deadpool 3. This includes actors from the original X-Men, as well as actors from Fantastic Four like Chris Evans reprising his role as the Human Torch, Johnny Storm. Additionally, Ben Affleck will be back as Daredevil alongside Jennifer Garner as Elektra. More people are returning to this movie than those who aren't. One of the biggest surprises is Channing Tatum as Gambit. This is mainly because a film about his version of Gambit was never made. In contrast, other returning characters had movies that were shown in theaters. Gambit's had a limited screen time in previous films. Many might recall Taylor Kitsch's portrayal in Wolverine Origins. Interestingly, that movie also had an earlier version of Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds, which he often jokes about. He later went on a journey across different universes to fix the timeline, which is a nod to both Loki and Deadpool 3. A lot of the Deadpool 3 storyline builds on events from both the Loki series and how the TVA and alternate timelines function in the Marvel Universe. It's interesting how everything came together. When Ryan Reynolds filmed the post-credit scene for Deadpool 2, he didn't know how the Loki series would address timelines. Also, during that time, it was uncertain if the Disney-Fox merger would even take place. The story of Gambit in films began with the original movies directed by Bryan Singer. Singer had planned to include Gambit in the second X-Men movie X2, which is considered a good X-Men film. James Bamford, known for his work on the Arrow series and later as a director, was chosen to play Gambit. He even filmed some scenes for the character. However, this footage didn't make it to the movie's final cut. The scene was supposed to appear when Stryker was using a modified version of Cerebro to force Professor X to harm all mutants. Bryan Singer had plans for Gambit, played by James Bamford, to appear in an X-Men scene that showed the effects of Dark Cerebro on mutants. The scene was cut, and although Gambit was later included in Wolverine Origins with Taylor Kitsch in the role, plans changed. Channing Tatum was slated to play Gambit in X-Men Apocalypse and a solo film. However, Fox became hesitant after multiple delays, changes in directors, and the failure of the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. With Disney's subsequent acquisition of Fox, the Gambit film, which had been long in development, was finally canceled by Disney. After Disney acquired Fox, many movies were canceled, including Marvel and others. Among them was a planned Kitty Pryde film and subsequent X-Men projects post-Dark Phoenix. Channing Tatum's Gambit movie was supposed to introduce Mr. Sinister as the primary villain. Now, this character will be the main antagonist in X-Men 97. Fans might remember teasers about Mr. Sinister from previous X-Men films. In X-Men Apocalypse, a post-credit scene hinted at his connection with Wolverine, and in New Mutants, an evil corporation linked to him was alluded to. John Hamm was initially set to portray Mr. Sinister in a post-credit scene, but it was removed. The movie was among the last few Fox Marvel films affected by the Disney-Fox acquisition. Kevin Feige decided to release it during the pandemic. I watched it at a drive-in since regular theaters were closed then. Similarly, the DC Universe faces challenges this year. Several characters from the Snyder era remain, while James Gunn is revamping DC films and changing the cast. This leaves many films with characters that may not fit into future storylines, creating a state of uncertainty. The Gambit movie starring Channing Tatum would have explored Gambit's early life from the comics, set in Louisiana before he joined the X-Men. He was a thief for Mr. Sinister, part of a mutant gang linked to Essex Corp. Gambit stole items that Mr. Sinister required for his genetic studies on mutants. This story was touched upon in the X-Men animated series. Mr. Sinister was particularly interested in Cyclops and Jean Grey's lineage, thinking their offspring might be powerful mutants he could control. This offspring turned out to be Rachel Summers, who also possessed Phoenix's powers, hence Mr. Sinister's interest in potent mutants. Gambit's story would have focused on the tasks he performed for Mr. Sinister. He eventually meets the X-Men and Professor X, who motivates him to leave Mr. Sinister and seek a better path. Suppose the X-Men movie series had continued without Disney's acquisition of Fox. In that case, Channing Tatum's Gambit might have appeared in films after X-Men Dark Phoenix. Ryan Reynolds persuaded Channing Tatum to return as Gambit mainly due to their real-life relationship. It's like doing a favor for a friend. They teamed up for the movie Free Guy a few years back. In it, he played the character named Buttons, who was another player's avatar called Revenge. Sean Levy was that film's director and is now directing Deadpool 3. It's like Channing Tatum is getting back together with his pals for another project. He's always loved the character Gambit, so seeing him play it in a movie is a big thing. In the Free Guy movie, Chris Evans returned as Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four films. This return was important for Deadpool 3, which features a storyline where Deadpool interacts with characters from Fox's Marvel films. Chris Evans briefly appeared in Free Guy for Captain America-related jokes, mainly because he was already friends with the team. So getting him for Deadpool 3 was an easy decision. Ryan Reynolds had a knack for convincing his friends to make fun, short movie appearances. That's also how Ben Affleck was persuaded to return as Daredevil. Some of these appearances have deeper meanings and references for the fans. In simple terms, classic X-Men actors returning is significant because there are many X-Men references, like Wolverine and his yellow outfit. These characters are expected to have more prominent roles in the upcoming Secret Wars movie. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, are among those expected to play bigger roles. In Deadpool 3, Deadpool uses Cable's time travel tool and ends up in the 838 universe after the events of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. The story continues after Scarlet Witch takes out most of the team. The idea here is that the planet becomes a bit chaotic after some important group members called the Illuminati die. Their friends and allies are taking their place in the group. This is why Ian McKellen is returning as Magneto, but in a version that looks more like the one from the X-Men animated series and comic books. Also, there's a new batch of episodes for a show called X-Men 97, so people are getting excited about that. The excitement is making a lot of X-Men merchandise sell really well. You can even buy Magneto's helmet from the animated series. I'm looking forward to seeing the characters wearing outfits matching their comic book looks. And there will be scenes after the main part of the movie ends that give us hints about what might happen next. Just think about how exciting these scenes might be if the main movie is already so intense. There's a lot of exciting stuff on the way. And there you have it, folks. The upcoming Deadpool 3 is shaping into a Marvel masterpiece filled with surprises and nostalgic returns. From Gambit's unresolved tales to the intertwining Marvel timelines, we're in for a treat. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to be the first to know about future Marvel movie updates, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Share this video with your fellow Marvel fans and drop a comment below which cameo you're most excited to see. Thanks for joining today, and remember, with great power comes great responsibility. To stay updated. Catch you in the next one.